These were the worst makeup products that I tried this year, okay? Today we're kicking off my end of the year wrap-up series with the worst launches of 2023. Okay, I'm like, where do we start? I have a couple of mascaras. I actually have 3 mascaras that I really did not like this year. So let me start off with the one that is actually newest to me. And weirdly, like, I kind of like this, but it was a huge fail at the same time. Okay, so let me explain. This is the Tartlette tubing mascara, okay? So this launched this year. I'm pretty sure everything in this video launched this year. Actually, there's one that launched like right at the end of 2022, but for the most part, I try to keep this series strictly limited to products that came out this year, and this one did. So 2023, I said in my predictions video, I was like, this is gonna be the year of tubing mascaras, okay? We're gonna see a couple of them. And we definitely did. We got this one from Tarte and I was so excited about it. I love a tubing mascara. And if you're not familiar with a tubing formula, it basically coats your lashes in a different way than a traditional mascara, essentially forming tubes around the eyelashes. So then the huge benefit here, you're not getting flaking, and the removal is like so effortless. You will just be in the shower or washing your face or the sink, whatever you do. If you just go like this when your lashes are a little bit wet, the mascara slides off in tubes. It kind of looks like you're losing eyelashes, but you're not. It is fully just the product coming off in one string. It's so satisfying. I love it. But this Tarte tubing mascara doesn't do that. This was like the weirdest thing. The first time I applied it, I was like, okay, this looks nice. I think I'm gonna like this. But then when I went to take it off, I was like, this is not a tubing mascara. It fully just breaks down like a normal mascara. I'm getting like smears around my eyes. Nothing about this is coming off in tubes. I don't get it. And I think it's a decent regular mascara. So, you know, if you like the look on my lashes here, I don't think you'll necessarily be disappointed by the performance of it. But if you're buying this hoping for like a traditional tubing mascara, you're going to be so let down. But it's a decent mascara, but like that was a huge bummer to me. The wand on this one is a rubber bristle wand, very short bristles. It comes to a bit of a taper. Again, my lashes look nice, but that just really disappointed me. I guess while we're talking about this, let's talk about the other tubing mascara that really let me down this year. It is the Milani tubing mascara. This is the one that came out technically in 2022. This one, I would say, is very effective at the tubing process. So everything I just said about the Tarte and the removal, the Milani is the opposite. Milani will be coming off in those really satisfying little cones. But what I didn't like about this, it was like it was giving me negative eyelashes, okay? I would put it on and my lashes looked so much worse than if I had nothing on. But at the same time, they were very defined, but in a horrible way. It's the weirdest thing, like, it's a very, very saturated black mascara. So like you could see the product on the lashes. Like I would apply it and they looked makeup-y. Like it looked like there was product there, but it was doing no favors for my lashes. It was like clumping them together. They were stick straight. It was like they looked even shorter from having it on. It was just not a good formula in my opinion. Very globby. The only pro for that was the removal. Fantastic removal. Whew, one more mascara to go while I'm just like roasting mascaras today. This one is looking kind of crusty. Something got on this in my makeup drawer. But this is the CoverGirl Cleantopia mascara. This is part of the Lash Blast line. And I had really high hopes for this because I very much enjoy the Lash Blast line. The orange Lash Blast, that's so hard to say, Lash Blast mascara was like my holy grail. When I was in high school, I remember I would use that up, repurchase. I had gone through probably dozens of those. It was everything to me. Over the years, I've loved so many of the Lash Blast products, but not this, okay? So this is Cleantopia. I purchased the brown shade of this. First of all, if you're into brown mascara, this is definitely one of those really, really deep brown mascaras that kind of translates more as black on the lashes. You're not getting that like rich chocolatey pigment if that's what you're after. If you're looking to get any curl out of your lashes, this is not going to be your friend. They will go stick straight. It's a very subtle lash, and typically I enjoy that, but this was like a subtle lash that really wasn't doing me any favors. Like my eyelashes didn't look like much was going on, but again, you can kind of see the product there. They look stick straight. There's not much length happening from this. It was just an overall incredibly underwhelming mascara formula, especially being from a line that I have loved so much over the years. Skip this one. The next one I do not have with me at the moment, but we must talk about this. This is one of the worst products of this video. Like, these are the worst of the year. This is like the worst of the video. The Jones Road Liquid Bronzer is garbage. Okay, that is dramatic, but truly, that was an unusable product for me. I suppose maybe if you want to mix it in with foundation, that would be nice as like a color adjuster. But for the intended purpose of being a liquid bronzer, I could not make that work. I remember the very first time I applied it, I was like drawing it onto my cheeks and it genuinely looked like I put fake freckles on because of how patchy it was. And it wasn't even patchy in like a big globby blobby kind of way. It was like patchy, like little dots of the foundation had disappeared to the point that it really looked like I had on fake freckles. Not blendable, does not sit well on the skin. Like, I wanted to love that so much. In theory, a gel liquid bronzer seems like a really effortless, beautiful product, but I found that to be practically impossible to work with. I would definitely recommend skipping that one. I guess while we're talking Jones Road, I do have one other from the brand that I really did not like this year. This was not as horrible for me as that bronzer was, but I definitely recommend you avoid the brow gel. And I actually have this in my brows today. I was like, let me give it one last chance before I like fully roast it in a video. But this just confirmed to me, yeah, I really still don't like this product. So formula-wise, I don't think it's terrible. It's a tinted brow gel. I would say it's kind of standard in that aspect. But what makes this so challenging to use is the applicator. This has such a ginormous spoolie on it, and the spoolie in theory is supposed to be really helpful because one side is actually pointier and like the other remaining part of the spoolie is more of your like traditional spoolie shape. But I find all this does is like gunk up with so much additional product to the point that you're trying to like work it through the brows. And it's glob mania. There's so much product. Every single time I get this on my skin. Honestly though, if anything, the problem might even be less with the spoolie, which I still don't like, but even more with the stopper. I think for this spoolie, the stopper almost needed to be a little bit smaller because it's like I pull it out and this thing is full of product. And so I end up having to like sit here on the side and like scrape off pretty much every bit of product that's in here. And I've kind of been hanging on to this, hoping that one day, maybe when it dries up a bit, I'll get a better effect from it. So, my initial huge complaint with this was that it was globby. It was too much product. So I was like, maybe if I let this sit in the tube for a while, the formula will get a bit better. It'll be easier to use. Not really. That hasn't been my experience. I say skip this. And funny enough, I have some Jones Road products going in my best of the year. Like, there's one that is standing out to me, and you probably know what it is. That is like my tip top favorite product of the entire year. But the brand for me is kind of hit or miss. I either love it so much and it's a holy grail, or I think it's unusable. And that was kind of the case with those two. Something about filming like a worst of video, I just keep thinking to myself like, man, I sound so negative, but I know that's like quite literally the point of the video, but I'm still hearing it and thinking like, oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about this from Essence, okay? I wanted to love this so much. When I tell you, I was pumped when this launched because I was like, okay, we might be finally getting a really great drugstore dupe, cruelty-free dupe to Benetint, because this is a lip and cheek stain. But this is a very difficult product to work with, okay? So this retails for $5. I wanted to love this so much. It is one of those very thin, liquidy stains. So, the concept here is you can apply it pretty much anywhere. It's for your lips, for your cheeks. On the lips, this is fine. It's a decent lip stain. I wouldn't say it's like the greatest thing I've ever tried, but it definitely does what I want a lip stain to do. But what really let me down was the cheek application on this. This is unusable on the cheeks. Like, truly, when I tell you I have tried every way possible, I have like done backflips trying to make this work. Any tip I have gotten, I'm like, okay, I will try it. Let me go back to the drawing board. Let me figure this out, because I was so determined to make this work. I'm like, it's a $5 cheek stain. Like, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. I couldn't. I tried. Just to walk you through some of my attempts, okay? Obviously, I tried drawing it directly onto the cheek. No, if you do that and you go to blend it out, you've already missed your chance. The first place you put it down, that is where the stain is going to be, and no blending is going to happen after that. So after that, I was like, you know what? Let me try putting it on my hand, picking it up with a brush, applying it like that. Better. Still not good though, because it's not like a gel. It's like a very thin, watery texture. So it just, it's harder to pick up on a brush like that if you've already applied it somewhere else. And then even once you do, I'm kind of getting some brush marks. I'm like, okay, let me take this and draw it directly onto the brush. Again, better, not great. I was like, let me draw this onto my fingers and tap it on. Again, better, but not great. Like, there are ways to make this look slightly better, but there is no way to make this look nice. Like, I cannot get this to work. Even for $5, avoid this product. Maybe as a lip stain, but I do want to note, I think this pulls super pink on the lips. The color it ends up being is kind of more of this like fuchsia versus the red that it appears in the container. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you don't want that shade, I probably wouldn't, I wouldn't recommend this. Okay, one more from Essence. Actually, two more from Essence. Essence is another one of those brands. They make some of my absolute favorite products, and then they make some of the worst products. I think part of that sits in the price point. Essence is one of the most affordable brands that there is, especially when everyone is raising their prices. We're still getting some very affordable things from Essence, but that means not everything can be a hit. And that was not a hit. And neither was this, okay? They launched this highlight this year. This is called Positive Vibes Only. This is a baked highlighter. And I was so pumped about this because I'm like, is this gonna be similar to like an Hourglass highlighter? That baked formula that sits so smooth on the skin. It's a very soft powder. No. First of all, this is scented. It's the weirdest thing. It smells like shampoo almost. So I don't love that, but weirdly I kind of do like it at the same time, I guess. But just note, there is a fragrance here. This is the most glittery, chunky highlight you've ever used in your life. So on the eyes, it can be kind of pretty. You've got this duochrome look to it, super sparkly. But nothing about this is smooth. And when you feel it in the pan, I mentioned this in another video, it's genuinely like if you were to take your finger and run it across concrete, that is how stiff and dry this feels in the pan. It is like a brick and it just does not sit well on the skin. Maybe for like photography, like you can get that really beautiful reflective sheen. It's kind of this over the top, bright, bold highlight with a flip, but I would not say it looks nice on the skin. This is like chunky glitter central. One more from Essence, the concealer. So Essence launched liquid foundations and concealers this year. I was so excited about this, but I would say they were both pretty underwhelming launches. First of all, we know the shade range was horrible, and the concealer in particular was just so dry on my under eyes. It is like this thin, liquidy consistency, so I thought it would sit really well and sit very comfortably on the under eyes, but that was just not my experience. It was cakey, it was separating, it did not wear well, it looked dry. If you want a drugstore concealer at a really similar price point that is so much better, get the Catrice True Skin. Like that one over the Essence all day. Okay, we're gonna keep going on this roast, and now we're getting into Fenty. So 2023 really was the year of eyeshadow sticks. We were seeing them launched from everyone. I was so excited about these from Fenty. I feel like Fenty makes so many great products. So many of my favorites are from Fenty. So I was like, okay, I know they're gonna nail these eyeshadow sticks. They absolutely did not. This eyeshadow stick formula is terrible. It is like the weirdest thing because you'll apply it and then you go to blend it out, and as you're blending it out, it is completely blending away. You're like, where did it go? And then you're like, okay, let me put some more on. And again, where is it going? This is one of those that I also feel like I tried so many different ways. I'm like, can I blend it out with my finger? Can I blend it out with a brush? Can I apply it with a brush? Can I do this? Can I do that? No. It disappears as you're applying it. And then once you've like really worked and like put in so much effort to get anything on the eyelid, it fades immediately. Like, don't expect this to last all day. It's not going to do that. And it's such a bummer because in the swatches, these look like they should be fantastic eyeshadow sticks, but on the eyes, they just are impossible to work with. Here's where people will disagree with me, okay? And maybe on some of the other ones as well. But this one, I feel like so many people loved this year. But I had a lot of downsides to the Dream Beam sunscreen from Kosas. Now, funny enough, I still use this a good amount, but I think there are so many cons to this sunscreen that I don't hear people talking about enough. So formula-wise, this really pills. And I would say pilling is like the main issue I run into with a lot of sunscreens. You know, when I find a sunscreen that's not pilling, like that's when I'm excited. This one, impossible to get not to pill, for me at least, unless I'm putting it on bare skin. And that is the only way I'm able to use this, is if I don't put on any moisturizer, I don't put on any AM skincare products, I just go, you know, wash my face, let it dry, and then put this on. That's it. So because of that, I found myself using it a good amount in the summer. I do like that it has a little bit of this peachy tint to it. There's a little bit of a glow. So the skin looks like really livened up. Like it's almost like you have a tiny bit of coverage there. But unless I'm applying it on its own, like I cannot get this to work. If I apply it over anything else, it pills. And even sometimes when I'm applying it on nothing, I still get a little bit of pilling, like at the corners of my face, especially in this area. It'll just kind of start to ball up a little bit. So I just think for the price point, I find it such a finicky product to use. I can make it work and I will use it up, but it's not something I would repurchase. It's something I wouldn't recommend to many people unless you're okay with that. I just feel like this one was not worth the hype at all for me this year. Another one not worth the hype. Okay, this I have determined is like the most polarizing product ever, because when I mention this in videos, I feel like the comments are split 50-50 between people saying, yes, I agree 100%, do not get it. And then the other half of people are like, what are you talking about? I literally cannot live without that. And it is the Colorwow Extra Strength Dream Coat. So Colorwow had their Dream Coat before, but in 2023 they launched Extra Strength. And I was seeing the most incredible results from this. I was like, this was a YouTube made me buy it, or like TikTok made me buy it, like the internet made me buy it type of product. Because the promise with this is that you'll get no frizz and it is supposed to last a long time. Like this treatment is intended to last through multiple washes. So it's like you apply it once, you're good for a while. Now, this product requires a very thorough and specific application process. You need to follow it to a T in order to get results. And I'm telling you, I did everything I was supposed to. I was sitting there, I was taking notes. I was like, okay, saturate the hair. When I tell you my hair was like, this was sopping off of my hair, like dripping off. Like I promise you, I was using as much as they told me to use. I was blow drying with tension. I was like, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do everything they tell me to do. I'm going to figure this out because this was supposed to change my life. This was supposed to change my hair. Every single time, without fail, I just go back to my normal amount of frizz. It's not more frizzy, it's not less frizzy, but I don't notice a difference. I do think my hair looks like marginally more shiny, but for the amount of effort required to use this, like the results just were not worth it to me. I did not see the frizz fighting benefits that I wanted to. And like I had such high hopes for this. It's very, very, very humid in New York, especially in like the summertime. So this, I was like, please, please be the answer I need. And I just could not get it to make a difference for me. Ooh, I'm looking over my list. I'm like, what am I forgetting? What am I forgetting? Okay, we've got a couple more. Let's talk about one that you've heard me talk about, but just for good measure, you know, we're going to talk about it one last time. It has to be in the worst of the year video, obviously. This is the Glow Recipe BHA Smoothing Primer, okay? You've heard me talk about this. You're like, Kelly girl, we know you hate that stuff. If you have sensitive skin, I need you to run the other direction. You watched me apply this for the first time on camera. I had a reaction. My skin was like turning red. It was burning. Immediately after filming the video, I had to run to wash it off. If you have sensitive skin, this will not be your friend. And even if you don't have sensitive skin, this really broke apart my foundation. I felt like this did the opposite of what I needed it to do. It's a smoothing primer, so I was hoping it would make things look smoother on the skin. That was not my experience. My foundation sat worse. Skip that. Skip that product. Okay, Sigma. You know Sigma is one of my favorite brands. I am a Sigma affiliate. My code is KELLYG. If you are ever shopping for anything on the site, definitely use my code to get a little bit of a discount. But I would not recommend that you use it on the cream blushes. I did not like these. Now, I'm so picky with cream blush formulas. I've kind of just determined that about myself. I think it's really hard to find a good cream blush. Powder blushes, I feel like those are a bit easier. It's almost hard to mess up a powder blush, you know what I mean? But a cream blush, finding one that sits well on the skin and does not disrupt your foundation is truly an impossible task. Like, I have so few that I would describe as great. And this Sigma formula, like, I would definitely skip this. As I applied it, it was like picking up the foundation. It was like erasing where I was putting the foundation. Once again, I promise you, with all of these products, I was trying them like forward, backwards, upside down. I'm like, let me try it with my fingers. Let me try it with a sponge. Let me try it with a brush. Like, every single thing, I'm like, I can make this work. I can make it work. But this formula, I just found so tricky. Maybe on my like no foundation days, if I'm applying it to bare skin, I could get a little bit better of a result there. But to apply this over top of a foundation, I was always getting it picking up my foundation, moving things around. And for the amount of extra effort involved, I would skip that one. I hope I saved you a little bit of money with these, okay? These products, you know, definitely skip them. My best of the year videos, those are coming soon. Not quite next, you know, I'm thinking in a week or so, I'm gonna do best drugstore, best high end. So stay tuned for those, but I really hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will go ahead and see you in my next video. Bye.